Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Dee about to react to this vid by Maddie Balls. It's titled How Gen Z Broke Hollywood. And they have Obsession on the thumbnail. If you don't know, I react to Obsession, the movie, on my Patreon. It's up right now. Check it out if you want to watch it with us. I got such an overwhelmingly positive reception from reacting to that. Like, I figured people would like it, but I didn't expect all that love. So I appreciate all y'all who went over there to watch it and who loved the movie reaction. We will definitely keep it up. I already have a movie in mind that I want to react to next, so stay tuned for that. But yes, they definitely are breaking Hollywood for sure, because I know that they were like YouTubers, the people who made Obsession, and I feel like there are some others who are breaking into the industry and their movies have been doing really well. So I love that for them. But anyway, let's see what he has to say. Let's watch.
Backrooms movie just broke a ton of records. It made Kane Parsons the youngest director with a #1 box office film. Globally, it was A24's biggest opening weekend ever. It's the largest original horror movie debut in history, and many more. I mean, AMC just had their highest attendance since 2019. This is following the major success of movies like Obsession, an indie movie with less than $1 million budget that was directed by 26-year-old Curry Barker, which also broke records. On the flip side, though, industry titans like Disney and Star Wars just had the lowest debut of any live-action
Because how many more Star Wars can we watch? Not we, because I ain't never watched. Well, my ex, it was on, I wasn't paying attention anyway, but I never paid attention to any Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever the hell, but it's like, they've been going on for decades now. How many versions can y'all make?
With Mandalorian.
God.
I know to a guy who isn't really into movies, I've just felt this overwhelming excitement around the current movie industry. So what happened? Why are indie movies and movies that traditionally wouldn't do as well doing so well? And why are the big studios flopping? Well, to understand that, I think it's important to understand some of the crazy...
I feel like they also come with like this fresh originality. Like Hollywood tends to want to recycle the same shit over and over because they're just money motivated. So they're like, what worked in the past? Okay, we're going to try to repackage that. And it gets very sterile very quickly. So it doesn't allow for, innovation and like new ideas. So that's why a lot of horror movies are like the same. They recycle, repeat. And I said that on the reaction for Obsession. Like, I'm so used to, really basic horror movies. So that's why I really appreciated Obsession. It was like something kind of fresh. But yeah, it's like, that's why Hollywood is flopping. People are tired of it.
We've seen as of late. Now I got to get this out of the way. I'm not a big movie guy by any means. I know a lot of you cinema fans out there will hate me for this, but for most of my life, I really only watched like superhero movies and comedies. I mean, this is my letterboxd. But don't worry, I'm self-aware. I'm trying to expand my palette. Regardless, even though I'm not a huge movie guy, I've just felt really interested with the industry lately with how many cool, interesting movies have been coming out. One of the most shocking successes as of late was Markiplier's 2026 science fiction horror film, Iron Lung. Now, I haven't seen this one, but Mark Edward Fishback, or Markiplier, has held a dominating position on YouTube for a long time.
Yeah,
to many, he's one of the goats of early YouTube. And similar to a lot of the other people we'll see in this video, he decided to take it a step further than just making videos for YouTube. Mark decided to make a movie, but Iron Lung actually wasn't his first. He's actually written and directed 3 separate projects, 4 if you count his book/documentary, Markiplier from North Korea.
If you had to describe this book in one word, what would that be?
Mark was like when he was born, when he was 1 year, when he was 5, when he was 7, when he was teenager, living to get his first kiss.
His other 2 projects were pretty unique as well. However, what makes these films different is that they were interactive.
One more thing goes up on my ship, I'm gonna lose this.
Despite the risky format, though, they performed very well, receiving a 10 and an 8.9 respectively. This early success is what motivated Mark to continue making films, and this time he decided to dive into Hollywood rather than releasing his movies on YouTube. Mark began work on his new movie, Iron Lung, as the director, a writer, executive producer, and editor. When the movie dropped, no one really knew what to expect. Would the project flop, like many assumed, or would it flip the script on big-budget production studios? Well, with a budget of just $3 million, Markiplier's Iron Lung ended up hitting just over $50 million in the worldwide box office, making the movie a smashing success. However, this is far from the only indie movie making waves right now. As Markiplier said in an interview discussing why he went about Iron Lung's production how he did, he said, "There's still a stigma against YouTube. One of the reasons why I really wanted this to work, at least to some degree of success, I didn't expect this degree, is to help move that mountain. It's not like I'm going to topple the mountain by myself. It has to be toppled and then toppled again until it becomes normal.
I love
And that
this.
seems to be sort of what's happening right now. Comedy sketch YouTuber Curry Barker recently released his film Obsession, being a hit with an overwhelming amount of positive reception. And even that's probably an understatement. I don't know about you guys, but this movie is everywhere for me. Everyone's talking about it. It's everywhere online. It's huge. I still haven't seen it yet, though. I'll probably have seen it by the time this video comes out. But Curry Barker started
Watch it on my Patreon.
sketches with under the name.
Watch with me.
All right, so this is my new apartment. About to go meet my new roommate, Brad. So here we go. Here I come. Buddy, I'm home. Hey, Brad, yeah? Yeah, Chad, actually. You moisturize.
Ew.
They grew a pretty big following, and Curry even got a role on one of my favorite shows, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
What you got there, bozo? Just need you to sign these waivers. No waiver, dude. I'm not really supposed to let you in unless you sign this. Yeah, well, listen, while I agree it's total bullshit that we would have to sign a waiver, and also that we could bum rush you and there's nothing you could do about it.
But how did any of this lead to him directing a smash hit film? Well, in between his comedy skits, he began throwing in some horror short films over time, like Heavy Eyes and The Chair, the latter of which got 10 million views. And The Chair was special because it got the attention of film producer James Harris of T-Shop Productions, who reached out to Curry to make it into a feature. Instead, Curry declined and pitched him the idea for the movie Obsession. In 1 year, he went from filming comedy skits and films for YouTube on $800 budgets to a budget just under $1 million for Obsession. It screened in the Midnight Madness block at the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival, and within days, distribution deals were made and the film was set to officially hit the big screen in 2026. Like I said, the movie got great reviews, and less than a month after its release, it's grossed over $150 million worldwide. In the US and Canada, Obsession was initially projected to gross 8 to 10 million, but after making 7 million in its first day, obviously it was going on a different trajectory. And as the movie began to grow and more people talked about it just from word of mouth and internet talk, the sales actually continued to grow. Obsession became the only wide release horror film on record to increase its box office revenue in the second weekend. And that's amongst other records it broke as well. The film even got an 8.2 out of 10 on over 50,000 reviews, which is very impressive. And the crazy part is Obsession was released amidst heavy competition like The Mandalorian and Grogu, Michael, and more, with one of its other competitors being Backrooms, also being a hit indie film. What was originally a creepypasta, The Backrooms has had a long, detailed lore throughout the internet, which made it the perfect film for adaptation by A24. Similar to the other indie movies I covered, Backrooms was directed by a shockingly young 20-year-old director, Kane Parsons, in his feature-length directorial debut. After uploading a web series based on the original Backrooms creepypasta, Kane was approached by a bunch of studios about adapting his series into a feature film. In 2023, it was officially announced that the film would be made, and Kane had just turned 17 months prior. Kind of crazy that they gave a $10 million budget to a 20-year-old kid, but it worked out. When Backrooms released in theaters in the United States on May 29th, it blew up so fast that it became A24's biggest opening and domestic box office performance. On top of that, it made Kane the youngest filmmaker to reach #1 at the American box office, and it's on track to gross $150 million easily, so not too shabby. Like I said in the intro, it broke a ton of records, like being A24's biggest opening weekend ever, or being the biggest R-rated opening weekend of 2026 and in the top 15 R-rated openings of all time. And lastly, Backrooms is the largest original horror movie debut in history, which is a pretty big one considering its competition includes The Conjuring or Five Nights at Freddy's. But it isn't just these.
Who wants to see that once again? We tired of the same shit. How many Five Nights at Freddy's has it been? I feel like it's been a lot. I know it's a video game, and I feel like there was a movie a while ago. How many they gonna make? In The Conjuring, goddamn, let it go. It's too much of the same stuff. People are tired.
Budget films or these YouTube directors that are making waves. I feel like, and this is a bit more opinionated, but it seems to me that a lot of big studios and big actors are trying a little harder now so that way they can compete. One good example, I think, is the movie Sinners. During a time where it seemed like a lot of big movies were flopping, came Sinners, with the interesting idea of doing a dual role for Michael B. Jordan. Ryan Coogler, who also created Black Panther, believed in Sinners so much that he personally covered the spend when they went over budget, which was a good investment as the film has made over $370 million. Why? Sinners had the biggest opening weekend for an original.
He believed in it. He like, nah, I'm gonna put up some more money because this shit gonna take off, and that it did.
Okay. Which means that it's the first movie in a while to crush that hasn't been sourced from like a comic, a cartoon, a book, or something similar. There's also been a lot of other big movies with big name actors like Marty Supreme, where it feels like a lot of effort was put in, especially in and out of the theater with the marketing, the physical experiences, collabs with celebrities, and all sorts of marketing strategies, like Timothy Chalamet making a song with SD Kid.
I'm living on theme, I'm doing the thing, fight the pain, invite the pain, invite the.
And this may just be me because this is this is all I'm familiar with. But I feel like even like some of the superhero movies have gotten a little extra attention to detail, especially with James Gunn taking over the DCU. I mean, I think Superman was really good. Overall, to me, it just
that is hilarious. Why did he thought I
it
was
seems like people are a
saying?
little fed up with the Marvel movies or the reboots of every movie that was popular 20, 30 years ago, and just the same old stuff. The point is, while there was undeniably a low period in the movie game, it feels like signs are pointing to a potential resurgence. But why? Well, it seems like fans, creatives, actors, and everyone in between is fed up and tired of how Hollywood has been producing movies for the last decade or so.
Hello.
Here's why. One of the biggest overarching issues that Hollywood has been facing, among others, is their current adversity to risk.
Studios are now more risk-averse than they've ever been in recent memory. And yes, while Hollywood has always been a business with a list of problems about 10 miles long, a lot of us witnessed a time in previous decades when studios were a lot more willing to take risks and allow for this creative exploration that we're just not really seeing today. Studios used to be on the hunt for the next cool original thing, not the same recycled, safe story from the same tired IP that's and burned out adults who are on the hunt for euphoric nostalgia.
Exactly.
The creatives behind movies and TV shows are getting really sick of Hollywood.
But why are they so adverse to risk? Well, movies have been around forever, and for a long time, they had no competition. And when television got popularized, movies in theaters were still a big deal. Movies didn't go straight to TV. They were played in theaters first and then released either on VHS or DVD, depending on the era you were in. And eventually would hit the TV networks like a year later if it was worth it. Now, there's a lot of reasons why theaters were so much more successful back in the day, which I'll touch on shortly, but it's no secret that theater attendance has been down. Another interesting thing to note is throughout the history of the movie industry, there were a variety of studios. In 1912, Universal Studios was founded. 2 years later, we had Paramount. In 1923, Warner Bros. And Disney Studios were founded. And the following year, Sony was founded as Columbia. Nowadays, these studios are known as the Big Five, but it's soon to be the Big Four as Paramount is acquiring Warner. And before these studios bought up all the other ones, as you can see on this chart here, there was a lot more competition. However, over the next century, they would consolidate into what we have today. And if you know anything about the free market, competition is a good thing, and a lack thereof is not. Yet, what I think has had the biggest impact on Hollywood is the introduction of streaming services. In the movie industry, the system used to be pretty cut and dry. A movie opened in theaters, and if its total box office was lower than what it cost to make and market it, minus the half the theaters took, we could easily call it a flop. However, even back then, what was considered an infamous failure still grossed $265 million in the box office, and that's not even adjusted for inflation. Many movies today would be lucky to bring that much in, with the average theatrical release grossing anywhere between 10 and 100 million globally. While every studio and individual project has different benchmarks and metrics for success, the decline in theater revenue is undeniable. This has led to studios having to change their game plan.
Hollywood was so iconic back in the day. What happened? As far as the actors and actresses, it's just like, oh, iconic. I don't know too many now who are like, mega stars and like, oh my God, this person be killing in every movie. Oh my God, they're so great. Like, we don't have as many as, there were present back in the day.
Used to have a standard life cycle of 90 days in theaters and then a new marketing campaign for its home video/DVD release. This was your classic PVOD, or premium video on demand, where you had to buy the movie or rent it at home. I don't know if I barely remember those days, but I remember you had to pay like $20 to get a movie. And if the movie was really successful, like I mentioned earlier, it would have a continued life on cable. But nowadays, a movie's theater life could be as short as 17 days. All the while, it gets revenue on PVOD and SVOD, which is like subscription streaming. On top of this, the film will also have multiple international licensing windows down the road. Some movies even generate solid revenue through merch licensing, gaming, or in the value they make for old franchise movies on streaming services. So it's not necessarily the fact that major film studios are going broke or they're dying, but this brings us to the major issue of them being in a bit of an in-between phase. Many major studio executives are stuck between the old ways of box office dependence and the new wave of evergreen income via streaming services. With how different the industry is, determining
that was Netflix.
Or not generally
My bad. Redbox didn't deliver. You went to them. Yeah. That was a thing. I don't think they lasted that long. But yeah, Netflix, you used to have to go online and they would send you the DVD. I remember that. Damn, I'm old. I remember that, and I used to do it. I had a plan. I've been with Netflix for many years. I just canceled because I was paying $25, and I was like, I'm not even watching this shit like that on here. So I just canceled after being with them for a very, very long time. Back when they sent you the fucking DVDs in the mail. But yeah, I remember the first subscription I had. I think you could get like 3 at a time or something like that. It was like $7 or something. I don't know, but yeah, you would get them, watch them, and then you tape them back up and send it back to them. And if you didn't in a timely manner, then they would charge you for the whole DVD. And I think it was like, I don't know, $20, $30, something like that. So you were sure that you returned it.
The first few weeks of its release. The nuance has created an environment where studios don't have to cater to the theater goer. In an era where studios often deploy large-scale data analytics.
But they ain't getting my money no more. $25, and I'm like, I'm not watching anything on here. I'm just using Netflix as like background noise when I go to sleep at night. And I was like, I got Prime for that because I already paid for Amazon Prime, the annual membership or whatever. So I was like, I already have this for free. I might as well just have Prime as my background noise.
As a film's financial performance in its earliest stages, many projects are designed to maximize revenue instead of, making a good movie, which obviously makes sense. If you're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a movie, you want to make some return. But it's still a tough area to navigate, especially when you're dealing with like artistic integrity, especially since the best way to make a lot of money is to just make a good movie. But of course, that's easier said than done. Like I said, streaming services are responsible for Hollywood struggles in more than one way. At first, it was just Netflix, so they didn't have much to worry about. But now that there are 50 different streaming services with each one buying up the licensing deals with different studios, people are watching movies in a different way. Rather than getting excited and going to the theaters, most people would prefer to watch on streaming. This has been amplified a lot since COVID as well, since people are so used to just staying home. It's much more convenient. And for a long time, I was like this too. I still kind of am, but it's like, I also used to get headaches in theaters, though I don't get that as much anymore, but that was a problem for me. It's just a lot more comfortable and affordable streaming at home, or at least it was. And now streaming services are putting out their own movies or shows to compete with Hollywood, investing a ton of money into them. Amazon Prime has had The Boys and Invincible. Netflix has had Stranger Things. Disney Plus has The Mandalorian, and there's many more. They're doing this for plenty of reasons, but regardless, it's a lot of competition for these film studios to deal with. Ironically, the streaming services are also just putting out slop sometimes, expecting you to not be paying attention.
You heard from so many showrunners who are given notes by the streaming channels that they say, this isn't second screen enough. The viewer is expected to be on their phone, kind of half doing something else while your crime drama or whatever is playing. And you just can't make it as complicated as you have because they're not going to understand it because they're only going to be half concentrating on your show.
This is funny to me because I know a lot of people who go on their phones while we're watching a show, and it always irks me because I got to be locked in. But this may explain why a lot of shows, especially Netflix originals or whatever you'll see on streaming, might feel a bit lackluster. On top of this, streaming is probably one of the biggest reasons movies feel so repetitive and are using the same stories or IPs over and over and over again. As someone on Reddit put it, most people won't go to the movies unless they already know they will enjoy the movie. If you use nostalgia, you can potentially save millions on marketing too. I covered this in my video on nostalgia and nostalgia bait, but this is one of the major reasons we're getting so many reboots, remakes, or movies based on books or comics or things that already exist. That's why the success of Sinners is so interesting, because it's a fully original story. And this does make perfect sense. When you're mindlessly scrolling through Hulu or something, you're probably more likely to click on something familiar instead of something new. It's a little tougher for studios to profit on movies these days, so they have to make them with streaming services in mind to continue making royalties. And like I said, what's a mindless Hulu scroll for us is actually very important to them. People like the familiar whether or not they admit it. It feels safe. So that's why the big studios.
It's a girl, Andy. Not Andy. What was the cowboy name? I don't know. Listen, I'm not. Wasn't a big Toy Story person. I don't think I've actually sat down and watched Toy Story. Actually, it's been on in households I've been in, but I haven't like just sat down and watched. But anyway, the cowboy, whatever his name is. No, Andy is the brace face guy. I think. I know Buzz Lightyear is the buff one. What is the? Or is Andy the cowboy? Anyway, but that was a fake ass girl, Andy. So what are they doing?
So
a fake ass girl cowboy.
Actually, still got
citing
rising costs of production and the strange secondary market with streaming services.
What do you say to the people that say Hollywood is dead? It's too expensive to make movies.
It's not Andy.
I mean, sadly, there's some truth to that. I'll tell you now, like, it's very, very difficult to make a movie for less than $25 million, right?
Yeah.
And 25, and it can go up very quickly as soon as you got a big stunt unit or big action stuff or visual effects. And he used to be in some bangers. I love Reindeer Games. The same amount that you spend on to advertise the movie. So you spend $25 million to make the movie, $25 million to advertise the movie. So now you got. I've seen Reindeer Games so many times. And from the movie theaters, you get back roughly 50%. So if a movie makes $100 million, you get back $50 million. So you get back $50 million. That's you $25 million movie got to gross $100 million, just in simple math. And there is a tail and there are secondary revenue streams, but that's one of the things that has made it really hard to get theatrical with that. And the fact that people now go, this movie looks good, but I'll see it when it comes on streaming, And so those two factors are really what's caused, why you see most of the movies that come out in theaters or, Avengers and, or, Avatar or whatever it is, a movie, even a movie with that Ryan Coogler, who's a huge commercial director, and Michael Jordan's a huge movie star. That's considered kind of a risk because it's not like a sequel, right. And even that comes out and blows up. It's a big hit now, they'll make Sinners 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But to do something original, that's really, where those guys had to go out and really kind of use all their credibility and cachet to convince people to do that movie.
Sinners in specific, even though it had a very successful director, was still a risk. Because of how expensive every movie is to make, even doing an original story is a huge risk, which is why so many big studios have been sticking with the tried and true. And this isn't unique to movies, to be honest. This happens in the music industry and even on YouTube, which is why if you see a YouTuber with a really successful video, they'll make a part 2 or remix it in some sort of way. Because there's already some form of proof that the concept works. The reason this is so prevalent in the movie industry, though, is because everything's so expensive, like Ben was saying. So you have to have some sort of guarantee that you will be able to make your money back. This is why Hollywood is so risk adverse. With how fast the industry is changing, many old-minded studio executives are fearful of taking risks. So they've leaned on the safe side of things. And as I'm sure you could tell, it's sort of reflected in the quality of projects coming out lately. Just focusing on creativity and leaving the rest to chance is not good enough anymore in an industry that has the capability to forecast 10 years out. Now, obviously, some variance exists in between studios. A giant like Disney or Warner Bros. May need to push hard so they can achieve quarterly value targets for their shareholders, but then you have others like A24 or Neon who can afford to take bigger swings. There was also the writers and actors strike in 2023, and all of this together has placed an unbelievable amount of stress on the already struggling industry. The situation, specifically in California, grew so dire that California's Governor Gavin Newsom pushed to increase the state's production incentive budget from $330 million to $750. It was a controversial move, but Gavin spoke on the film industry saying, "It's on life support. We need to step things up." LA's share of overall worldwide production in film and television fell from 21.9% to 18.3%, which is kind of crazy considering the fact that Hollywood is supposed to be the hub. According to The Guardian, Netflix, Amazon, and others are now major producers as well as distributors of content. And their grip on the
Netflix stock is trash right now. I should have never invested in that. I just had a 52-week low.
A big screen before they appear on streaming platforms. And moviegoing itself has not recovered after the pandemic because of the convenience of watching from home.
Well, the whole
All of this
stock
has
market
led
is
to
down
where
right
we
now.
are today. We have YouTubers and TikTokers making movies that are doing better than the big 5 studios. And don't get me wrong, of course, the major film studios are still very successful. And of course, there's a bunch of small random films that are great, but it feels like the hype around indie movies or original films is higher than it's been for a while. This has also led to the success of companies like A24. A24, who just put out The Backrooms, is a bit different than big studios. After being created in 2012, A24 began distributing movies and then also started producing them. Rather than being very controlling of directors or working exclusively with big name actors like major studios do, A24 works with a variety of directors.
$7,000 with my
The
Netflix
average
stock.
budget of A24's movies has been $8 million, which is a drop in the pond when compared to like a Marvel movie with a $300 million budget. They're responsible for movies like The Witch, Uncut Gems, The Whale, The Iron Claw, Marty.
I tried to watch The Whale on the plane. I could not get into it. I'm like, this is feels very depressing. I just don't want to watch this like morbidly obese man trying to get around. It's I don't know. I didn't like it. It wasn't making me feel good. Seeing him, it was just really sad and depressing. I was like, oh God.
A24 seems to really care about the artistry, the aesthetic, and the quality of movies they're putting out. Not every movie is a hit, but they're definitely putting out some quality, which is why some big actors are even willing to take pay cuts to work with them. They've emphasized social media marketing to help save money. They're even putting out cool-ass merch for a bunch of their movies. According to Yahoo Life, A24 has used social media to create a brand that transcends well beyond theaters, especially for younger fans, which is why, to me, A24's success is so interesting, and clearly a rebellion against the traditional, repetitive corporate movies that we've been getting. A24 and Backrooms are just one example, like I said, of the success we've seen recently that go against the status quo. With Markiplier's Iron Lung, Ryan Coogler's Sinners, Curry Barker's Obsession, and all the other cool stuff that's been breaking records as of late, it seems like the film industry is changing. Whether that be because everyone's fed up with the big 5 or because Gen Z has learned to express creativity in a fun new way through the internet, or both, things are definitely changing a lot. And I think the younger generations and movie fans in general are just kind of yearning for more than what they've been getting the past decade or so. It seems like traditional Hollywood is falling off, and I think as the industry continues to change, creativity will hopefully begin to shine through. If movies have felt repetitive to you, there's a good chance other media like music or video games has too. And there's a reason for that. It's called nostalgia baiting. And if you want to understand why this is so prevalent in pop culture today,
Well said. I agree with this vid a lot. And, like that woman pointed out, Hollywood is very afraid to take risk and put out new content because they are afraid of the movie failing. So they're going to keep giving us the same type of movie with like a slight variation because they're like, oh, this worked in the past, so it's going to work again. And it's like, no, we're tired of seeing the same thing. Give us something new. So shout out to Gen Z for, giving us fresh, new content. Okay, I appreciate that. Like I said, I reacted to Obsession. It's on the Patreon right now. Check it out if you want to watch with me. Link down below, and we will be putting up a new movie. Okay, like I said, I already know what I want to react to. So when I can get around to putting it up, it'll be up. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this, though, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.